Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So welcome to our podcast today. So I'm your host Afiq, and with me there are four panelists: Shafi, Faiz, Mr. Zul and Mr. Rahman. So today we will be discussing an interesting articles about sociolinguistics known as the observer's paradox. So before we dive in, let's set the stage. The observer's paradox, first introduced by William Leboeuf in 1972, refers to the fact that people often change how they speak when they know they are being observed. So this makes it hard for the researchers to capture natural authentic language. So today, our panelists will break down two articles. The first one explores how social dialects also touching one paradox, and the second one it focuses on the strategies to reduce this impact. So maybe we start with Mr. Rahman. The question is, what's the key to focus? What's the key to focus on the first article?
Sure. The first article was written by BE101 in 2022, titled Social Dialects and Social Stratification, the Observer's Paradox. It looks at how language reflects social class, education, and occupation. Basically, our speech patterns aren't random, they are shaped by our social identity.
And yeah, the article used classic studies to explain this. For example, in New York, we got level study which shows that people with higher education level tend to use standard English language. And meanwhile, we got Trugil research in Norwich, which found that professionals like doctors tend to use more formal language rather than those who work in a blue-collar field. So how does the observer paradox come here?
Well, Perriot explains in the article that when people know they'll be studying, they often switch to a more formal style, not their natural way of speaking. This is the paradox. Researchers want authentic language, but the presence of the researchers, the observers, it changes the behavior of the speaker.
And to solve this, the article suggests strategies like long-term participant, where researchers start to blending with the group so that the people will act natural again. And another method that I have in my mind is what we call anonymity, correct me if I'm wrong, which is keeping participant identity private so they feel free to speak without feeling being judged. Okay, so great points. So article 1 highlight the link between language and social class, and it also shows how the paradox complicates research. Now, let's move to article 2. Alright, so we have finished discuss about the first article. So we moving on to the next article, which is the second article. Mr. Shafi, would you like to introduce the second article?
Yeah, of course. So the second article is written by Shota Adedapo Olareji. It is also published in 2022. It is called Navigating the Observer Paradox, Effective Strategies for Sociolinguistic Research. Unlike the first article, this one focuses more directly on how researchers can minimize the paradox when collecting its data.
Yes, Oladici proposed several strategies. For example, using the unobtrusive recording device to so participants forget that they are being recorded. So another method is building trust and rapport with participants, which helps them feels relaxed and speaks more naturally.
So that sounds practical. Any other technique mentioned?
Yes, the article also talks about indirect observation. One way is by using emotionally engaging topics. Lebov himself once asked interviewers about near-death experiences. Well, and because the topic was so personal, people tend to forget about the formal interview setting and they actually spoke more naturally about their near-death experiences.
So basically, we are trying to get people to speak naturally.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, people tend to start to use their language or speak formally when they are realize they are being recorded.
Yes.
Oh,
That is exactly it.
Thank you. Right.
Okay. There's also a focus group discussion. In a group of peers, participants are more likely to talk naturally because the power of balance is equal. So instead of performing for a researcher, they just chat with one another.
So, if I understand correctly, Article 2 argues that there's no single solution, but a combination of strategies can reduce the paradox.
Exactly. And Oladici also emphasizes ethics, making sure that researchers respect communities while trying to get the authentic data that they are searching for.
Alright, let's bring this all together. How do you all see the differences and the similarities between these two articles?
So, based on my own perspective, based on what we have discussed earlier, I think that both of these articles agree that the observer's paradox is unavoidable, but it is manageable. So, both of the articles highlight participant observation as the key strategy.
I can agree with that, but I also think there are some main difference between these two articles. The first one being about the article 1 is more about linking dialects to social class and then addressing how observation affects them. And for the second article, I think it is more hands-on with practical strategies on how to avoid all these issues that we've talked about earlier.
I'll add that first article shows why studying language in society is complex, while the second article just basically shows us how to deal with those complexities.
And for me, both articles agree that natural speech are more valuable than formal or altered speech. So that's the core idea.
Good luck. Well said. To conclude, both articles remind us that language is deeply tied into the identity and the society, but capturing it authentically is a challenge. Researchers need creative strategies, ethical awareness, and patterns to overcome the observer paradox. Okay, that's all from us, and thanks to our panelists, Shafi, Faiz, Zulhazi, and Mr. Rahman. So, and thanks for you guys who listen from the first to the end of our podcast. So, I hope you enjoy our podcast in Observer's Paradox in Social Linguistics. That's all from us, guys.
Okay.